That was the most smooth one I've had yet.
Welcome into the Bogey Bro Banter.
Hunter.
Banter of Bogey Bros.
Let me start off by saying...
Oh, what are you about to say? This is our second time recording this show.
Is our second time. The first time it doesn't matter.
We went on for an hour and a half. Konner wasn't recording.
Konner
That's
wasn't
not
recording.
true. That's not true.
Most typical.
Well, it wasn't. You weren't recording the audio, but it was like
The video was
Go,
going.
all right.
That's
Anyways,
not
on to the
Going
next
though,
thing.
yeah.
Hunter, as I said before, I mean it just as much this time. I missed you. It's nice to have you back in the office.
My line. Well, he doesn't speak for me.
I know. I don't speak for him. I've never spoken for Trevor ever.
I missed you too, Trevor.
That's uncalled for, Hunter.
Isn't it crazy?
It's an exact recreation.
No
of
one
what
else
we
is
did
getting
the
that
first-
joke.
Literally, we had to
being here.
re-record it because something happened.
Yeah.
So we said the exact same thing. But this is as far as we got.
Yeah. Now it's just now
all
we're actually
organic.
bantering.
Yeah.
This whole show's scripted every time.
I gotta
Every
tell
time.
you, man.
We're really good actors.
I missed being in the office.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's like an electricity in
Like
here.
at the first like 2
yeah,
days.
I mean, that's how the lights are on.
The first like 2 days, I was like, oh, this is nice. And like day 3, I was like, man,
Did you get any FOMO?
no.
We didn't do anything cool enough to give you
No.
FOMO.
Oh, yeah, we did.
I don't really get FOMO much, except for when I don't get invited to friends' weddings. What the heck's going on over there? Oh, it's a shadow.
Yesterday,
I get
here, I'll
FOMO
give you
a
some
lot.
FOMO, Hunter. You can have some of this FOMO. Yesterday, All Business Brad bought me some mac and cheese from Chick-fil-A.
Nice, man.
Dang it.
How does that make you
You're
feel?
giving me FOMO.
Yeah,
too.
you were gone, Trevor. You were like, I'm going to go fill some TikToks.
Ooh. I mean, I had first trick shot happen yesterday. It's going up today.
Heck yeah.
Took me not that long, actually. Probably like 35, 40 minutes.
I saw you hitting the 1-iron.
Well, that was for the TikTok that I did. You saw on the foundation? Did
Yeah.
You? Okay. Let's be clear. What? That was not part of a trick shot.
No.
I tried a few trick shots. One of them was I knew it was going to be nearly impossible, but I also knew that the attempts would look cool enough to be content on its own. The other one I knew I could get, and I did eventually. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Hunter, I want to hear about, you went to the beach. I want to hear about, is anything cool happen?
It's a great time. I got food poisoning.
Sick.
That sounds like a
Where
great
did you
time.
eat before you got food poisoning?
Chicken.
No, where?
It was where?
Yeah, throw them under
Drunken
the bus.
Jacks.
Yeah, say throw them under the bus. They deserve
This
it.
restaurant was
They deserve
pretty ingenious, to be honest with you. So they make
Like,
you sick.
They make
No.
you pay, and then you get sick.
No, I think it was just something. I think they just had bad chicken because my sister got a salad that had chicken on top. I got chicken tenders, so two completely different chicken like dishes. You know what I mean?
right.
And we both got food poisoning. Liz got a chicken sandwich,
a bad
but
chicken.
luckily she only took one bite. And I'll explain why she was so full, but she was so full that she was just like, I'm gonna just throw it away.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna take
I
the
mean,
rest home.
you got chicken going bad. That messes up a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're
So
popular.
but then my brother-in-law got fish. He didn't get sick at all. And then my niece got chicken tenders, but she ate all her fries and like one bite of chicken tenders. And she didn't get sick. So me and my sister both had chicken, both got sick. But this is the first restaurant I've ever been to like this. And I think it might be the smartest thing I've ever seen a restaurant do. Well,
Bold claim,
the
bold
dumbest
claim.
as a consumer, it makes you spend more money, which is why it's so smart. for them.
Okay.
We walk in. It's at Merle's Inlet. It was like 40 minutes away from where we were staying. It's right on the water, all of this.
Okay.
Place is packed. So we walk in, we put our name on the list, and she says, it's going to be about an hour wait. Is that okay? And we were like, yeah, we drove 40 minutes. What are we going to do? Drive 40 minutes back and wait 40 minutes somewhere else? She's like, yeah, that's fine. She goes, okay, we have a lounge downstairs that sits right on the water. You can sit inside or outside. There's a bar down there, a bunch of TVs. You can just go hang out down there, and we'll text you when your table's ready. We're like, oh, okay, great. We sit down.
That makes your waiting experience a lot better.
Yeah, so we sit down. TVs are on, comfy chairs. Waiter comes up to us while we're down there. Hey, would you guys want anything to drink while you wait for your table upstairs?
Oh yeah.
And we were like, so I got a Diet Coke. We all got a drink. And then he leaves us an appetizer menu. And he walks away. Brings back the drinks. He goes, all right, well, I know the wait's pretty long right now. If you want an appetizer or anything, just let me know. Here's a basket of Hush Puppies. Puts them on the table.
Oh, yeah. And you're just like, can we, or
I-
just our
I
actual
And
Iron
so
Nail.
then,
down here?
so then Liz and I, we were like, okay, well, let's just get the mozzarella sticks. We're going to get them upstairs anyways. And then Heather and Ethan, my brother-in-law and sister, they got loaded potato skins.
Yeah.
So then we just eat down
Very
there
smart,
for
very
the hour.
smart.
And we just get unlimited refills of Coke and stuff and eat the Hush Puppies. And then we were thinking this is all going to be on one tab. Like you go upstairs, it follows you. right before our number gets texted, I don't know if this is a coincidence or if they have a system.
Yeah.
He walks over with our bill. He's like, here you go.
Man.
He goes, your table should be called soon. Bill, $27. I paid for everyone because my
Okay,
brother-in-law
okay.
bought us dinner the night before.
I was about to say, dang, those are some
So no.
expensive
So,
mozzarella
but,
sticks.
Loaded potato skins, whatever, mozzarella sticks, and the drinks, $27. So I paid that, and then we get a text, our table's ready. We go upstairs. We had eaten, it was an unlimited basket of hush puppies. We'd been sitting there for an hour.
Tough.
So we go upstairs,
Yeah.
we're so full.
Hush
but like,
puppies
you
are
gotta
filling.
eat dinner now.
Yeah.
So we sit down, we order dinner, and then like none of us could finish our meal. But we all still ordered dinner, even though we
Yeah,
were all
you're gonna-
full because we
you're gonna
just
order.
waited
Yeah,
an
yeah.
hour to eat.
That's
You're
true.
gonna order.
So we ended up spending like twice as much as we would have if it wasn't
Very
for that
smart
downstairs
business.
lounge.
I
So you weren't.
and the
you
drinks, you got double charged. So you get upstairs,
Oh,
you get upstairs,
man.
and they're like, "What do you want to
Dang.
drink?" Diet Coke. Another $3 for unlimited bottomless Diet
That's
Coke.
hysterical.
So I paid $6 for Diet Coke.
So not to mention, you had food poisoning, but what came up with that food poisoning was a bunch of hush puppies and a bunch of Diet Coke, which sounds like a very
Hush
bad
puppies,
combination.
Diet Coke, mozzarella sticks, and chicken.
Oh,
But so I got basically what happened. So
that's a lot of stuff to get sick off of.
with Alpha Gal, my like red meat allergy. You have to call and ask like what stuff fried in.
Yeah.
And this first restaurant we wanted to go to called Benjamin's down there. It's a seafood buffet. They fry in a mixture of vegetable oil and lard. So I
doing
can't
that.
eat there.
Okay.
It's lard. My mom also has Alpha Gal, so when we were all going out, we had to call.
Well, which one's the beta gal? Sorry.
That's
Go ahead.
funny. And so this place, Drunken Jack's, I call them and I'm like, hey, what do you fry in? They told me, oh, we just fry in pure vegetable oil. I'm like, okay, great. But food poisoning and how I have an allergic reaction are basically the exact same symptoms.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same time frame. So I
Okay.
wake up at 1 a.m., almost 6 hours after I ate, super nauseous.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, man, why am I so nauseous? And so then I like start getting more and more nauseous, and I'm like, I don't know if this is an allergic reaction or what's going on. Like, did I just eat like crap? And so like I started checking myself for hives, making sure I didn't have hives, and it becomes a mind game because like
yeah.
you can make yourself feel symptoms you don't have, and so I always just have to like make myself like take deep breaths and breathe through it. But I'm getting more nauseous, so like I
Yeah.
know that's not in my head because I never get that nauseous. So I decided, I'm like, you know what would be smart? I'm gonna go ahead, take 2 Benadryl and a ranitidine, which are like the 2 histamine blockers,
Makes sense.
so that if it is an allergic reaction, I can get ahead of it.
yeah.
Pop both of those, take a sip of water. The second that water touches my stomach, it's go time. I like lay back down, and Liz hadn't gotten up yet. So what Liz wakes up to is I lay down, and then I immediately have to run to the bathroom to throw up.
Yeah.
So I lay down, and
Best
she
part of
thinks that I'm
waking up.
asleep, and so I wake up and just sprint out of the room. She's like, "What? What's going on? What's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm getting sick," and then bleh, throw up, and then it's food poisoning throw up. So like I threw up a lot,
Yeah.
Delicious.
and so I'm sitting there. But I mean, realistically, I've had a lot worse cases of food poisoning. There's probably like a 10-minute or so of where I was throwing up, and it was like back to back to back to back, and then after that it was done, and I felt better. But so I throw up. Still, I don't know if this is an allergic reaction because it's 1 a.m. I'm not going to text my sister and be like, hey, are y'all getting sick? Liz isn't getting sick. And in my head, she ate chicken. I forgot she didn't
Yeah.
eat any of her sandwich. So I'm like, but she didn't eat the fried chicken. But my niece had fried chicken. And so I'm like, walk back in. I'm like thinking through everything. And I'm like, well, I don't want to take more Benadryl because I took like the max you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
But then I just threw up. It's like, can I take more? Is this allergic reaction? I
True,
still have
because
no
you just
hives
got
anywhere.
rid of the Benadryl that you took.
Yeah, so I have no hives anywhere, but now I just have like chills all over my body because I just threw up. And so I sit down and I lay back down in the bed, and I actually laid in the other bed this time because we had 2 beds in our room, and the one bed I was like in the corner. It was hard for me to get out of without waking Liz up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I might be throwing up more. I'm gonna sleep in this bed. So I lay
Makes
down in
sense.
that bed. I'm like, what the frick do I do? So I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'd rather have too much Benadryl in my body than it be an allergic reaction. I try to go sleep right now. So I took 2 more Benadryl, another ranitidine, and then I just lay there shivering because there wasn't many blankets. I didn't bring a hoodie because we're at the beach. And so I'm like covered up as much as I can, but I still have chills just all over my body.
Yeah.
And then I went to sleep, and I was fine. I
that
woke up in the
Benadryl
morning.
knocked you out.
Yeah, the Benadryl knocked me out, and I woke up in the morning still unsure if I had an allergic reaction or what happened. And so then I texted my sister, and I was like, hey, did Lila, who's my niece, I was like, did Lila throw up at all last night? I don't know if I had an allergic reaction or if it was food poisoning. And I just want to know, because if it was food poisoning, I need to like eat bland throughout the morning. If it was allergic reaction, it's done. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh no, Lila didn't, but I woke up at 1, which is the exact same time as me. And she's like, and I was just throwing up the rest of the night.
Oh, dang.
I was like, okay. So it was definitely food poisoning then.
That's tough.
Delightful.
Did you felt like better after that though?
Oh, I felt great. Then I went down to breakfast and I had, I just got like a plain waffle and some potatoes. So that I didn't eat anything too heavy. So I ate that. And then every day we skipped lunch so that we could have a big dinner because, I mean, you're at the beach.
Yeah.
Plus, we wanted to go to early dinner so that we beat the crowd.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so then that night I had fish tacos and was fine.
Nice.
Another side note with
At least
fish
it didn't
tacos.
like completely ruin your trip.
No, yeah. I ended up being fine. Like that happened on Sunday. And then, no, we went to dinner. Yeah, that happened Sunday, and then Monday I was fine, and then Tuesday morning I ate like a normal breakfast, and I've been fine since. But fish tacos that night, I texted Trevor about this because I was dying.
Oh yeah.
Fish tacos that night, we went to this place called Taco Mundo, and because my mom really likes fish tacos, Liz and I really like fish tacos, and my dad just kind of goes along with the ride. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He'll eat fish anywhere. He doesn't really care. He doesn't like fish tacos, but he'll eat whatever. And so we were trying. At the Outer Banks, there's this place called Mama Kwan's that has the absolute best fish tacos. And it's blackened mahi-mahi is what they use. And then they have like rice and all this stuff. So we were trying to find a place. We went to this one place called Lulu's. They had blackened mahi-mahi fish tacos. It just wasn't, I mean, it was great fish tacos. Just wasn't Mama Kwan's. Then we went, if y'all haven't been to Mama Kwan's, you got to.
I haven't. I've never been to the Outer Banks.
Outer Banks, meh. Mama Kwan's is incredible.
But I'm about that Pogue life though, you know?
Yeah, great show. So then we go to this Taco Mundo place, and I order the fish tacos. It's supposed to come with a side of rice and black beans. What I didn't realize was they're not two separate things. They're rice and black beans all at once. I hate black beans. So that shows up, and I'm like, dang it, because like that was what was going to help it get to that next level, was putting rice in the taco. No one there puts rice in the taco for some reason. So I have just fish with their like sauce and cheese in my taco because I don't like lettuce, don't like pico de gallo. So like that very bland taco.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, there's a bottle of Texas Pete on the table. And I'm like, okay, that'll help.
Yeah.
I use Texas Pete all the time.
Yeah, love
So
Texas
I
Pete.
put it on
Not
like
made in Texas.
I put on Texas Pete like I would any
Yeah.
other time I use Texas
Of
Pete.
course. Of course.
Take the first bite, not Texas Pete.
Oh no!
It wasn't.
Was
So-
it in a Texas Pete bottle?
No, it was in a.
It just kind of looked. It was
looked
orangey, kind of
it.
like Texas Pete.
I didn't
again.
realize there was a label on the backside.
Gotcha.
So I poured it on. I'm talking to people, my like family, not thinking, and I put it back down. It just looked like there was a green one next to it, and typically at the restaurant, the green's the hotter one. Whenever any restaurant I've been to.
Okay.
It's like a
And so
verde
I'm just
hot
thinking like
sauce.
this red hot sauce just looks like your typical hot sauce. It was a habanero sauce. So now you know me.
Yeah, I
so
know
I take
you.
the first
That's
bite
very
and just sweat just starts pouring out of my face, and I'm just like, what did I just eat? And I like rotated around like, oh, that's not Texas Pete. And so I ended up eating the rest of the fish was incredible on it. So I ate the
fought
rest
through.
of it and just fought through it, and I didn't put it on the second one, obviously.
That's
But
This
I was,
isn't
I was
Texas
dying.
Pete. This is New Mexico Pedro.
I was dying. So I had to just chug soda. The tacos were good though.
I haven't had fish tacos in a long time.
I love fish tacos. There's a place in Charlotte called Cabo Fish Taco, and it is so good. That's all I have to say. Bye.
The place, I'm going to the beach in a couple weeks, and we usually go to the seafood restaurant we go to there is called the Breezeway. There's like a Breezeway Inn, and then there's a restaurant. It's really good. But I don't even know if they have fish tacos. I'd imagine they do. They're really known for their hush puppies, but I always get...
Hush puppies are a great time.
I love hush puppies.
Hush puppies with honey butter. There might not be anything better.
Yeah, very much. It's one of my favorite foods.
The restaurant we went to that gave me food poisoning, they had a dessert called the Hush Puppy Sundae.
No.
That was ice cream with hush puppies. I think the hush puppies were rolled in cinnamon, and then
Oh my
chocolate
gosh.
syrup was drizzled on top.
What?
But we were too full.
What?
We were gonna order it and split it, but
Man.
we were too full.
Well, whenever we go
might
to
have to-
Charleston, we're going to be in Charleston next month. Whenever we go to Charleston, there are so many food places to go to. I'm very excited. Charleston is like one of my favorite places on earth, Hunter. I'm so excited
Heck
to
yeah.
go there with you guys.
We're
But-
gonna be staying in North Charleston. I don't know if that matters.
It's not. None of it's
I
that
don't-
far
yeah,
from each
I
other.
don't-
So
Now, it seemed like it was about 30 minutes from the beach, North Charleston, where we're staying.
okay.
It's
Which
about-
beach?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just like went to the coast.
Okay.
And then it's like 20 minutes from downtown Charleston.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like 5 minutes from why we're going there.
Yeah, I was like,
5 minutes from why we're going there, and then it's like a few minutes from all the disc golf courses.
Gotcha.
I think Trophy Lakes was about 40 minutes from it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that close.
Yeah, Trophy Lakes is about that
It
far
looked
from
really
Charleston.
close, but you have to like go out and around.
Are we
for
gonna
some
play
reason.
Trophy Lakes over there?
Probably.
Okay, good.
We're gonna be there a full week.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna try to do 2 Bogey Bro battles, a Foundation versus the Nation, and then the. So I mean, it's gonna be a great time.
man, I love blue.
I mean, we have to figure out a few more details, and then we got to get but all in all, I'm really excited and I think that it's gonna be great.
Nice.
I think that we have to spend at least like one day while we're there, or one afternoon. I mean, like after we're done shooting a video or whatever, all of us just kind of like walking around downtown because it's so much fun. And I told Trevor
close.
that I've got to take you guys into Gurin Brothers, the hat store. That
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Because that's trouble for me. That's a lot of trouble. You put all those things in front of me, I'm buying.
I can show you guys the street corner that I used to go busking on.
Oh yeah, you
Whenever
should
I
bring
was in
your
middle
guitar
school.
and busk a little.
Nah, it's not as fun whenever you're an adult.
Busk all over the city, man.
We were looking at like where the Airbnb we were staying at is in North Charleston, and like the Airbnb looks very nice.
You didn't show me the new one.
New one.
I saw
I
the
can
other one.
pull
The
up
other
the
one
picture.
looked great. I mean, like I said, as long as it's got no bedrooms, then it's a great time.
Yeah.
We'll bring the vibes.
And so like we were like booking it, and Liz asked a question that I never think of. Oh, so like we're staying in a safe area, right? And I'm like,
I don't know.
yeah, like Charleston. I mean, first off, this
Usually
is the
when
outside of the house.
Usually, whenever we go places,
Like that's a safe area. Surely.
yeah, that's
There's
about,
a palm tree in the front yard.
That's
Oh my
about
gosh,
As,
I mean-
that's about as bread and butter. Like
Look, this is the
safe.
inside.
Oh yeah,
like this is
great.
So I immediately go, yeah. She's like, well, can you look it up? Just like because we're all gonna be
Do you
there.
look up like the crime rate?
So I searched crime rate North Charleston. Like this will make Liz feel better. It's like one of the most dangerous places allegedly.
Yeah, Charleston is not like downtown Charleston is fine, but the area surrounding downtown Charleston can be a little sketchy.
I was like, Liz isn't gonna make you feel better, Liz. I was like, I never looked that up because like when we're going on trips, like
we got numbers.
But it's not like-
we got numbers.
We only ever spent time like in downtown and right outside of downtown.
Yeah.
But and then
we're gonna be like by the airport. Don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
Yeah.
Never been
But-
to the airport.
I've never even been to South Carolina.
Well, we were also like, because we were in Myrtle Beach and we were in North Myrtle. And like
It's
South
definitely
Myrtle,
not more sketchy than outside of Myrtle.
I'll say
Beach.
Myrtle can get sketchy.
Yeah.
Like Myrtle, like if you go towards like actual Myrtle Beach, there's some sketchy areas, but you can also go there during the day and you feel completely fine.
Yeah.
Like no part of you ever feels super in danger there. Where we're staying in North Myrtle, I feel completely safe. Mm-hmm. And so Family Kingdom is the like amusement park down there. It shut down a few years ago. We used to go as kids all the time. It shut down. Well, Jimmy and I drove out to play a disc golf course, and we were coming back. We passed Family Kingdom, and it says now open, now hiring, all this stuff. I'm like, Family Kingdom's back. So I tell my dad, I'm like, we got to go to Family Kingdom. It's back open. Like, I'm sure my nieces would love it, and then we would love just going for the nostalgia because it looked like the big wooden roller coaster was working again. And so my dad looks it up and goes, "Oh, that's annoying. It's only open 10 to 5 every day." He's like, I bet it's because it's in Myrtle. I bet they just to like avoid the crime rates, they close at 5 every day.
Makes sense.
I was like, I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably staffing.
I just don't look at it that like it's that sketchy.
That's
though.
what I'm saying. I was like, I think it's probably staffing. Well, so me and my dad have the conversation. He's like, you're probably right. He's like, because they could stay open in the summer till 8 and it still be broad daylight. He's like,
also true.
he's like, you're probably right. It is probably staffing. He goes, I just know that because my dad's been going to Myrtle for like 40 or 50 years.
Yeah.
So he's watched it get quote unquote more dangerous. So in his head, he was like, well, he's like, I was just thinking maybe because it's got more dangerous down there. Well, apparently that was like the only part of the conversation my brother heard. And so he just looks up the crime rate of Myrtle Beach and then like gets like a crime rate map. And he's like, he sends us a picture to group chat of like, he's like, guys, we need to all be like aware of our surroundings. Like, you know, even where we're staying is not safe. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we aren't staying in like the nicest, like bougie resort or
Yeah.
anything, but you do have to go through a security gate to get into this, like, it's called the Kingston Plantation. There's like 7 or 8 hotels. They're all pretty nice.
Yeah.
Most of them are like condos that you have to let people buy and live there. And I'm like, this is not a dangerous place at all.
Yeah.
And so he sends it of like here, and then he sends a picture of downtown Lynchburg, and he's like, it's more dangerous here than downtown Lynchburg.
Ooh, that's gotta be.
And I'm
bad
like, that's
then.
not accurate.
That can't be.
Like, I'm like, that's just not true.
I feel like downtown Lynchburg is like in the grand scheme of things. Downtown.
Well,
Lynchburg
downtown
is
is-
not that crazy.
No,
Yeah.
downtown
Yeah.
Lynchburg is not that dangerous.
Yeah.
There's like one
But-
street that is.
Yeah.
But and that was the street he sent.
Oh,
It was like the
okay.
Diamond Hill
Well, that-
district, like that area.
Oh, but it's supposed to be more dangerous than that.
It's apparently like the same.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's just not true. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. And then the map he sent,
That's like
the
where I
Highway
live.
17 is what runs down, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other side of Highway 17 is green, like there's no crime.
Mm-hmm.
But then this side is like downtown Lynchburg. And I'm like, that also doesn't make sense. Like, is there just that Highway 17 is just a border and no crimes allowed past it? Like, what map is this? Well, a lot of it, he disagrees here. A lot of it included like crime, like burglary.
That's what I was
Crime
gonna
rate.
say.
So
I
I'm
mean,
saying-
it's not all just like murder.
Yeah,
it
I
could be like
say-
shoplifting.
I was saying
like,
there's Tanger outlets there.
oh yeah. So there's a bunch
People
of
leave your car
shoplifting.
unlocked.
Yeah.
There's
Stuff
a
gets
big
taken.
difference between
Also,
violent crime and like
you're on
somebody
a
stole
very
a
popular
shirt.
beach. Like, I'm sure you come back and your beach bag's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is that still crime? Absolutely.
Is it crime you need to
But-
be terrified
Yeah,
of?
it's not
No.
like look over your shoulder because
Yeah.
someone might skid
It's
you.
like, okay, just make sure you sit down. So I made a joke in the morning when we got up. Everyone was like, we're almost ready for breakfast. I'm like, okay, I need 5 more minutes sharpening my shiv, then I'm ready. But yeah,
You can
it was just
scare yourself pretty quickly with crime maps. And
Yeah.
like you can look up like the sex offenders like map and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it'll freak you out because like there are people that are living right near you that have committed these crimes
Yeah.
and like it's
But I will say
wildin'.
that I saw. I don't know why we're going down this road, but I saw because we were looking up sex offenders that lived near us. Our neighbor, it's fine. But if to get on a sex offender list, this is not diminishing sexual crime, but at all. Like that's a big deal. But to become a sex offender, it can be all the way up to like more intense crimes, all the way down to like public urination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get you on a sex
Yeah.
offender list.
Which I mean, they just have to do that because like
Yeah.
a lot of those crimes are progressive.
Yep.
But yeah, the crime. So then once, like, because then Liz is like freaking out. She's like, is it safe? Because is it safe for all of us to be down in Charleston? I'm like, yes, absolutely.
Charleston.
Like I was like, I wouldn't even think twice. I was like, this
It's the
house
same
looks
thing.
safe, and then you're gonna be driving into town. I'm like, we're not gonna go out past 9 or 10 at night, and if so, all of us will be together,
Well,
and
it's
there'll
the
be a
same
group of
thing.
like 10 of us.
In
We're gonna be a
downtown-
pretty big group.
In downtown also, it's the same thing where like it's all shops. Like
Yeah.
I'm not used to that because like all the downtowns, the only downtown that I was near growing up was Charlotte, and it's a banking city. So like there's not like a ton of shops or anything. But downtown Charleston is like their income is the shops and the stores, the shopping that goes on.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. It's like it's just basically just a mall. The whole city
Yeah.
is a mall. So of course there's a bunch of shoplifting and stuff that goes on.
Well, that's what I
But
told
and I've
Liz.
also been out. Like my family has walked around at midnight in downtown, and like there's like homeless people, but it's not. You never feel unsafe or anything because
Yeah.
it's so populated too.
That's what I told Liz. I'm like, there's no reason to be worried. I'm like, according to this map, like, is North Charleston more dangerous than where we were staying in Myrtle? Sure, but I'm like, you have to remember, the same map we're looking at here just told us Myrtle was like like super dangerous. I'm like, do you feel like in danger here? She's like, well, no, not at all. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, if you would have never looked at the crime rate map, we would have got there.
Yeah.
And everything would have been completely fine.
You're more likely. I think you're more likely to get a run over by a horse and buggy.
But yeah,
Now,
I'm
now
excited
that we've
for
said
Charleston.
all this, I'm getting kidnapped. Like, for sure.
Oh, I had a topic I wanted to bring up because I was scrolling on TikTok. You know,
Okay, that's a
like you
great
do.
place for topics.
And
TikTopics.
I noticed that every like week or two, a new just like internet mogul, I guess you could put, just pops up
Are you
on
talking
TikTok.
about Tate?
Tate.
He
Who the
popped up
frick
on
is this
mine
guy?
too.
These guys,
Right.
like,
What
they
is
pop
Tate?
up. They
What
pop
is
up.
Tate?
Well,
This
I'm going to
guy.
describe
He's
this
just a guy.
person in general
Okay,
because this
good.
person is just duplicated over and over and over.
Okay.
Basically, they've seen the success of people like Gary Vee. I think Grant Cardone is one of these people I'm talking about, but like those type of people where like they get in front of a mic and they just speak with authority and
Yeah.
they
Who is the original guy who did Blazarian?
Dan
they-
Bilzerian.
Yeah, they're all a
They,
bunch
like-
of like Blazarian.
I guess Gary
copies.
Vee doesn't
Hit their
really
chest
fit.
a lot.
Gary Vee doesn't really fit into this because he doesn't like show his wealth.
Yeah.
These guys just
It's a new age where they just talk
Yeah.
about how smart they are.
they talk
at
about how
making
smart
money.
they are,
Yeah.
how much money they make, how people are just like so dumb with money and what you need to be doing and all this stuff. And like what they say sounds great, And then you like think about it for more than half a second. You're like, this guy's an idiot. Mm-hmm. And his new one, Tate, like, I don't know where they come from is my thing. Like, he just comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, dude.
And he's just talking like he's the richest person on earth. And he's just like sitting with like these massive sunglasses, and he's like talking about how he's writing off his Lambo. And
did you see they won about the casinos?
I don't know. I've seen so many random ones.
When I saw yesterday, he's talking about how he was, he was definitely overseas, but he was somewhere where there were these, he met these like business partners that own these casinos. And it wasn't like a third world country, but it was a less developed country than ours. I forget exactly which one it was. But they were talking about just like, they were doing like $18 million a day turnover, like profit on these casinos, like just crazy money. And he was like, and he just starts just going into that monologue they all do. So he's like, so I tell these guys, like, what do I got to do to open up one of these casinos? And then they're like, no way, we're going to open those casinos. He's like, well, here's what I'm going to do then. I'll pay for the casino. I'm going to put it right next to your top one, and I'm going to drive it out of business or whatever. And then now I'm making all this money off casinos. I bought a $4.2 million Bugatti. Like that is how these go. Like that's how all these TikToks go. And it's so funny. He just popped up. I've seen him like 2 or 3 times now.
And what typically turns out is, like, if you look at Ty Lopez, I think might have been the first.
They rent everything.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, that guy.
Oh, yeah, he was the original.
I think he's the first. He just ran tons of YouTube ads on, like, you know what I value more than these Lamborghinis behind me? This book wall.
This bookshelf.
Knowledge. That was like the first one, I think, because that was prior to TikTok.
All they do, like Ty Lopez, he rents the cars in the house, and then he sells his instructional stuff. Yeah, and that's
like Dan Blazarian. Have you seen him?
No.
So this guy claims that he made hundreds of millions on poker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And he's showing off, he's just constantly with models in this massive house, private jets. And he has this like CBD company called Ignite or something like that.
Yeah, it's super stupid.
And he just is like massive on Instagram because all he's ever posting is him with different models at these beaches. So people start looking at him because like when you post stuff like that and you came out of the blue, everyone asks how.
Yeah.
And his answer was probably the smartest one you could come up with when you're faking everything is I made hundreds of millions playing poker. Because like, how do you check that? Because like, a lot of poker goes on illegally. Illegally. Or so like he's saying like, you know, behind the scenes poker deals. Like he didn't play World Series poker.
he did have
he did play poker.
He did have a mainstream poker career, like where he did have some success, but like
he's also kind of sucked.
Yeah, what I'm saying, what he's claiming is that he basically made his money under the table.
Yeah, the way he claimed he'd be like the greatest poker player of all time.
Yeah, because like the best poker players.
So then people like start looking into everything, and his CBD company is actually somewhat successful, but then he's using a CBD company to pay for all of this lifestyle stuff.
Yeah, he's buying
and trying to write it all off, which doesn't work because he's saying it's part of marketing. Really big stretch. Like he tried to write off a rock wall that he put up in his house.
Yeah.
But then the house he never owned. He claimed he like paid cash for it and he owned it. He was renting it every month. All the girls start coming out and he was paying them to go on trips with him. So he was like, hey, I'll pay you to fly down with me to this island and then we'll just take a bunch of pictures. And so then he's posting pictures like they're all just wanting to come hang out with him. And he's just paying all these people to be friends with him. And then I don't even think he owned the jet. And his accountant came out. His accountant like quit because they felt like he was being asked to do illegal things with like what he was being asked to write off and stuff. And he either was fired or quit, but he like came out against Dan and was like, I think he was suing him.
It's basically Firefest.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And so he was just coming out, but like that's what happens with a lot of these guys. Is like they come up like Ty Lopez. He was talking about this mansion and stuff, and like there's tons of YouTube conspiracy theories that like go into like in the background you can see certain people, and people will like tie those people to banks and stuff, and they think that like they're funding his project so that he can sell this course for them. And all
in
this
fairness,
stuff.
like the Ty Lopez thing was brilliant marketing.
Yeah,
very smart marketing.
I think it just started where all these people were like, oh, so when I start, if I just look like I'm super successful, then people will ask me how I got there. Then I can sell them this course.
Well, yeah, they what? Well,
or then I can sell them my CBD. Or then I can whatever.
Yeah, it's this simple, right? Like you show up in the YouTube ad or whatever, or on TikTok, and you have these things. You have the nice car, the nice house, a lifestyle that people want, and then you tell them that it's so easy. I mean, that's the easiest marketing pitch in the world. They're like saying, yeah, I worked hard at this for like a year and I just did these few simple steps. They love that. They love that one. Just these few simple steps. And look what I got, all this stuff. And then like, yeah, of course people are going to sign up for your course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very smart marketing. I mean, it's influencer
crazy.
marketing.
It's that's where I think it's so dangerous how much glory we give to the idea of the dollar. I think. I want to say something really quick. And I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. And then also anybody listening, jump over to the YouTube comments, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching the video. Go over to YouTube, look at this video and type in the comments, because I actually want to hear from real people what their opinion is about this. I was talking to my dad this weekend, and I was saying that
Sky Gods just got announced.
Oh, that's cool. I was saying, and I really am curious as to how you guys think about this, because I can be guilty of thinking that we care too much about money, but I've been taught by many wise people that handling your money wisely is very important. Hunter, you've helped me realize that a lot. That just because you care about being wise with your money doesn't mean that you're greedy. It just means that you're being good with what has been given to you.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. But I think that it was probably a lot healthier back in the days whenever there was a bartering system, because what that meant was that you found something that you were good at and that you were likely passionate about, because typically you're passionate about things that you're good at. And you didn't, let's give the example of like if you're a contractor or a carpenter, and you like building houses, you're good at building houses. Well, back in the day, basically how it worked was you didn't have to worry about being a good farmer if you were a good carpenter, because how it worked was, guess what? Your buddy who's a really good farmer needs a new barn built or needs a new house built or needs a room added or whatever. You could go over there and do what you're good at and contribute a lot to the community by building all these things for people. And you didn't have to worry about where your food was coming from because you were bartering. So you were getting that in return for your goods that you were putting out there. The problem is now is that people aren't putting goods out in the community and getting goods in return. Everybody's just focused on not what can they do for other people. What am I good at? What am I passionate about and good at and can contribute to other people with? It's just about what can I do in the easiest way to get the most of these pieces of paper or the most of these digital items.
So what is a contractor right now that's building a house?
Yeah.
So let's say the same scenario. Mm-hmm. He goes to build that house for the farmer. What happens?
Yeah, no, I understand how the money represents the bartering system.
Yeah, it's
I understand
the same
that.
system.
No, I'm just saying that I think that people have changed the way that it's. I'm not going to say the way it used to be because I'm not going to pretend like people were better or anything.
I get what you're saying.
I think what I don't like is that the focus has shifted from how can we contribute to each other as a community and provide for each other as a community and like actually help the world to how can I do as much as possible? How can I do as little as possible to get as much for me?
I think that was still a thing back in the day, because like one of the oldest finance books is called The Richest Man in Babylon, and which goes back to Babylon, which I mean that's way back. And basically they were in that system. There were still like everyone was doing day labor and stuff like that. There were wages because there was like some type of finance going on, but a lot of it was still on the barter system. But there were still people who like were greedy and were just getting all they could for themselves and not caring. And then there were other people who were living quote unquote paycheck to paycheck because whatever they were good at or they had didn't get them much in the barter system.
Yeah.
I think
and so the whole book was basically talking about how you take a tenth of what you made every time you set aside until there was an opportunity, and then you took that tenth, and eventually that tenth, as it grew, you invested that tenth into whatever you bartered it for more land or whatever to be able to increase production or whatever it may be, and then that tenth eventually starts paying more than what you're doing day to day, and then you can go more and more. Like the tenth gets bigger, and so then you can make more. And that was the whole idea back then, which is very similar to nowadays. It's just we have cash instead of.
I think a big issue is like a lot of that traditional bartering you're talking about was very much like direct service for direct service. Whereas like think about a computer programmer who writes. Let's say you design Netflix or whatever, and so it's something that you only have to do once, and now it people like you need like. it works for itself essentially. It's not like you're building a house and then you're building another house. There's a lot more things like digital nowadays and things like that where you only have to do the job once, but then people need to keep paying for it. So like it can't be a direct trade every time. Like I just feel like that scale can't be mass. It can't be done on a mass scale.
I think true cash that held value, gold backed cash, or any type of cash that you physically own is basically as good as the barter system can get. What makes it bad is debt. So if it was the system back in the day brought to today where you have a good, you have something like you can do editing, right? So then Foundation pays you to do that editing, and that allows you to, you don't have to barter with me as a farmer. I can provide the goods and service to people, then I get money, I pay you for editing for that and shooting and all of that stuff, right? We'll just say editing for the simplest thing. And that allows you to now go get food and stuff like that. So you don't have to direct barter because like, what if you walk up to every farmer and they're like, we don't need video services. And then you're like, well, crap. So that is as good as that system gets. The problem is now debt is brought into the table. And what debt allows you to do is keep up with the Joneses. Because there's in every society, there's people, if you go all the way back to the very beginning, there's people with a lot and with overflows, and there's people that don't have enough to get by. And that's how every society basically has always been. And there's always people taking advantage, and greed is greed. It's always existed. And so there's people with tons of whatever pelts and, you know, purple robes and all of this stuff that would have been valued back, gold that would have been valued back then. And there's people that are like chicken farmers or something back then where they couldn't do for much. What cash did was the chicken farmer can now scale it up and be able to make money and have enough that he has something that people want, which is cash, because everyone wanted that. But what debt allowed him to do is debt is the whole problem in my mind, where you can just get approved for a credit card or get approved for a loan or whatever it may be. And now I see someone going down the street in a really nice car. And I'm like, dang, I really wish I could afford that. And then you see the ad of, I can't afford that. Only $200 a month. And so now I have a car payment, $200 a month. But instead of paying $40,000 for that car, I'm now over the time I have to pay $200 a month. I'm going to pay $60,000 for that car. Or even better, I can loan the car. I never even have to own the car. So now I'm just throwing money away. Might as well be burning it with a lighter. And the same thing can be said about, you know, mortgages. Obviously, no one pays straight up cash for a house anymore because it's a really bad idea, because your interest rate, you can get lower and just invest the money if you had enough to pay cash, that it's going to pay for itself. But that's a whole different thing. Regardless, credit card debt is the worst because a lot of times that's like 14, 25%.
Super high.
So you spend $1,000, you realistically might pay $3,000 if you pay the minimum to pay that off. So basically what it allows though is I can now live a lifestyle that I can't actually afford. And I just have to just keep swiping this thing.
That's a good point.
I think that is what has changed society drastically, because people are now spending money they don't have. So it's no longer bartering. It's now like,
I think that
to keep up with things.
I think I made a mistake by putting the focus on the bartering and putting the focus on the dollar. What I mean more is, I completely agree with everything that you said. That makes a lot of sense. I think what bothers me more is just how focused our society, and I think it's always been like this. So it's just a human problem. I just don't like how focused we are on our wealth and our success instead of focused on, you know, the actual goods that we're producing. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of it comes out of necessity, though.
Well, I think that
a lot of it comes out of like, I just need a job to put food on the table.
But a big part, if you go,
I understand that.
The farther back you go, that's always been a problem.
But it doesn't matter what you're working and what you're doing. You can still find a way to do it well and be proud of what you do. It doesn't like it doesn't.
And you can.
I worked at Chick-fil-A for my first job. And I'm not gonna dare for a second claim that I'm the perfect person and to look at for this. But Chick-fil-A did a great job of getting their employees to look at it as a valuable job of you are really changing somebody's day, and you have the opportunity here, an encounter with somebody to either help them have a good day or help them have a bad day. And that's, if you can do that working at Chick-fil-A, like literally a quick service restaurant, and like you can do that anywhere. And then I worked at a Mazda dealership where my management was absolutely crap, terrible place. And but I still wanted to look at it as, okay, well, I'm cleaning this person's car and it's going to make their day a little bit better, or it's going to make the money they spend on this car feel a little bit better because look how shiny it is coming off the lot. And like, I just want people to take pride in what they do and not take pride in what they receive from what they do. Like, I just don't like how much people focus on the wealth.
I think the companies that scale the most and are the biggest, when they start, I'm not going to say they still are, but a lot of times the founders still are focused on, because you have to be at the beginning, focused on what they're providing and how it's making people's lives better.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to lose sight of that. I think that should be.
I think the people, if you lose sight of that when you start, you'll never make money.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that a lot of times, like employees, like people who, like the founder of Netflix, will use that. He saw a problem. He found a way he could make people's lives easier, make people's lives better. Invented a solution, which was, instead of having to go to Best Buy, I'll ship you DVDs. Then he continued to progress. How can I make this even better for people? Oh, you can sit at home and stream, right? And just continue to progress. Now he's fat and happy. And I don't even know if the founder of Netflix is still the CEO. He might be. But, now what happens underneath that is people who don't own the service they're providing. You know what I mean? All they do is they come in just to run the social media, do some programming, whatever. And some of those people do take a lot of pride in what they do. And those are the people that end up getting promotions, getting raises, stuff like that. And then other people are just like clock in, clock out, deuces. Now, that doesn't always happen. Some of the greediest people do end up getting raises and stuff like that. It is what it is. But a lot of times people who take pride in their work, show up, are really proud of what they're putting out, really proud of what they're doing, they're going to produce the better work.
Yeah.
Some people have talent and
that's
don't
what
care.
bothers me about the whole viral aspect of personalities, like what you guys were talking about.
Well, that's always existed too, though.
Yeah, it has always existed. I think there's something wrong with it, though. I think, and now it's more of, it's just, literally there are courses. People are see that and they're so desperate to do nothing and get a lot that they're going to pay for a course.
But you also have to look at it this way: is there are negative sides to today's society, 100%, but there's also a ton of positive sides to today's society.
I completely agree.
Because the same platform that person's using to say, look at me, look at my Bugattis, here's my course, buy it, and it's going to help you nothing. There's also the actual information out there for free.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree.
Tough part is you have to wade through a bunch of crap to find it.
No, that's what I think. The problem is that it's still the way that it always is, and there's a very silent majority, or there's a very loud minority, and that is the really greedy people. Like for example, the people that are higher up in businesses that really care about the service that they're providing to people. I feel like you don't hear them as much as the people that were like, look how much money I made and this is all I did.
Well, because by the time those people get big enough, they're removed from society to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because like when they started, you don't hear about them because they just started a company, a really small company. Like I'm reading a book, it's called Masters of Scale, and it's basically talking about the beginnings of these massive companies. And like the Airbnb, when he first started, the guy who founded Airbnb, he would literally go stay at Airbnbs and then have dinner with the hosts after and talk to them about like, hey, your Airbnb's been getting great reviews. What are you doing? And then started suggesting that to other people of like, hey, we've found great success here and stuff like that. Nowadays, they use like a super host badge, and that's kind of where it came from. But at the beginning, it all started because he saw a lot of people couch surfing and knew like he'd much rather pay, $50 to sleep on someone's couch than $100 to stay in a hotel or whatever the scale was back then. He would much rather do that. And he knew there had to be people like him. So that's how Airbnb started. Now it's a whole different thing where you rent out your whole house, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But when it started, he would actually go stay on people's couches and talk to them of like, why are you an Airbnb host? What can we do to help improve your time as a host? What can we do? And then you talk to people who are staying. Like, what can we do as Airbnb to help in your time and make you feel safe where you're going and all this stuff? That's what, Tory Burch started a very similar way. Trying to think what else. There's several stories in there, but a lot of them had that grassroots, how can I make your life better? Start. And now they're so big that like, I don't even know who the founder of Airbnb is. And he's not going and staying at Airbnbs right now. Because once you get to a certain point, it's like, you've made it. You've done it. You've created a goods and service that makes people's lives better to the point that you can go public as Airbnb, sell off half your shares, and now you never have to worry about anything a day in your life. Yeah.
I just want people to be passionate about what they do. That's it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a fine line because
It was a much more simple message than I meant for it to be.
The keeping up with the Joneses has existed for a long time.
Yeah.
Social media has made it easier to see the Joneses and easier for the Joneses to fake it, because the Joneses used to be your next door neighbor that was driving a Cadillac when you're driving a Suburban. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, I really wish I had that. Or the next door neighbor, or it used to be the guy you went to high school with that you come back to your high school reunion and he has a bigger house than you.
Yeah.
Those were the Joneses before. But that desire was still there. It's just now it's a lot easier for people to fool you, because scams also used to happen. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff would start and be like, oh yeah, all you got to do is convince 10 of your friends to also sell this product and you'll be rich. Like, that's when pyramid schemes were a bigger thing.
Yeah.
They're still around, but they used to be a lot bigger before they got made illegal. But I mean, that's like, it was in different forms, but it's always existed. Even in bartering system, it would exist because everyone wants more than they have.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
Yep. And it's a people problem. You're not going to get rid of it.
No, because you're never. You're never going to have people. Not everyone on Earth will always be content, because
it's hard.
Even
it is.
Elon Musk wants something.
Yeah.
And he's the richest man. I mean, he's the richest man on Earth right now.
He paid the most money in history for taxes last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, he paid a frick ton of taxes, but I mean,
11. Either I don't know if it was million or billion.
I think it was 100-some million.
I think it was 11.
That wouldn't be.
That wouldn't make sense.
I mean, 11 billion might have been.
I think it might have been 11
But
billion.
regardless, that doesn't matter. But I mean, there's still something he wants. I'm sure it's not monetarily tied. It's not, probably he probably. I think for him, it's probably I want to establish another place where humans can live on a different planet.
Yeah.
But like, everyone's chasing something at the end of the day. It's just, what are you chasing?
I'm just trying to be 1,000 rated.
It's just I mean,
before I graduate.
It's so like
yeah. As in his bio.
Before I graduate. That's funny. I think that everybody can just be at a point to where you have days where you're like, man, I just want that. I just want more money.
Yeah.
But then you just have to bring yourself back down to earth and be like, what is the money going to give me?
Yeah. I think the thing is,
money can be a good thing. Like, what is money going to give me? Okay, well, probably a safe place to live and probably food. That's great. But I mean, like, what is having an huge excess of? It's not bad to work for money, and it's not bad to have a lot of money. I'm just saying that if you're at a point where you're not making a ton of money, there's nothing wrong in being like, well, look at all the things that I have that I'm actually more blessed with than I thought I was. You know, we just have those moments where we're like, I don't have enough, and then you really take a look and you're like, I have more than enough.
Well, I mean, I'm sure with inflation and everything, this number's gone way up, but it was 5 or 6 years ago that I saw this stat where it was
like 99% of wealthiest if you made like over 30.
I think it was like $30,000 in the U.S. You were in the top 1% of the world.
Oh yeah,
That was a few years ago. But I think the stat also translated to if you have a roof over your head and food on your table in the U.S., you're in the top 1% of the world.
Yeah,
because like that goes back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago, like traveling. You don't understand third world country like levels of poorness unless you've seen it, and like. That's the type of stuff that you never see in the U.S. And people don't understand. A lot of times it's just taken for granted. Now, I'm not saying people in the U.S. aren't struggling, because I hate when people talk about like if your ankle hurts and I just got shot, I'm in more pain, 100%. Your ankle still hurts.
My ankle still hurts.
Yeah. So it's not like it's like when someone says something of like I don't know, like basically. Just because it's a different scale somewhere else doesn't mean it's not a problem. You know what I mean? Right. But it does give you perspective of like, if your struggles aren't necessarily to the same scale as someone else, it does help you appreciate what you do have. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, you're still struggling, and it still is hard and it hurts. But in my head, it always helps to be like, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I am fortunate in these ways. Which is what you're saying. Yeah. But I think that where being smart with money comes in is less about your need to have more, but more being smart with what you have. Because if you have, like what I was just saying of the mortgage thing, if you won the lottery, because there's a show on HGTV called My Lottery Dream Home, and it pisses me off every time.
I know. Oh my gosh. I saw that. It made me so angry.
Let's say you won the lottery and we'll ignore tax. Okay. So you won $300,000.
The show is literally this guy goes, he's basically a realtor, and he goes to people who just won the lottery and want to buy their dream home, and he helps them find their dream home. And so it's basically a bunch of these young people who don't deserve all this money, who are just like, yeah, so like I want this mansion and like this
But
pool
what's
and
funny
this
is
basketball court.
this one girl that I watched
It's
won
so hard to watch.
She could have had $25,000 a year for the rest of her life, or she chose $390,000 now, and she got $390,000 now from the lottery. Never once in the episode is there mention of tax because she's really walking home with maybe $200,000.
Yeah,
because the lottery winnings are taxed
stupid
hard.
Decision that is. $25K,
and so
a year?
she gets $390,000 and is looking at $500,000 homes as a 22-year-old.
Oh my god!
And I'm just looking at this, watching this episode, and I'm like, this is awful decision. I mean, unless
What are
you
you
just
gonna do
have
after you
oodles of money
spend-
behind, but then why don't you already own a house if you did?
Yeah.
Because like, regardless. Okay, so let's say you won $300,000 from the lottery and tax isn't a thing. So you actually have $300,000. Mm-hmm. If you walked out and you bought a $300,000 home, yes, that property is going to go up. But what you could also do is $300,000, put like 20% down on the home.
Yeah,
so 60
invest
grand
the
down.
rest.
Have like a, interest rates fluctuate. We'll just say 4% interest on the mortgage. The average, if you put the rest of it, you just put the remaining 240,000 into the stock market, into an index fund. Over every 10 years, you can kind of take chunks. Yes, there's depressions and stuff where it goes down, but in general, it's going to generate an 8% return. Mm-hmm. So if you do that math, then basically,
I'm just gonna let you do it. For
you
me.
have the 4% that you're paying interest, right?
Yeah.
But then you're getting 8%.
Yeah.
So you're still earning 4%.
You're earning
4%.
So basically, what it should happen is what you're earning in the stock market can cover your interest that you're paying and all of that, and then you have more money.
Would you have
passive
taken the
income.
390 or the 25 a
I'm
year?
taking 25 a year for life.
I thought that was a no-brainer, but sometimes you explain
it's like
things
the-
and I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot.
It's like the would you rather have a penny like every day at whatever percent or $1 million now?
Well, it's a little different than that one. Like this one, I mean, because like this one, in theory, 25, you got to factor tax because if it gets taxed each time, then
Yeah,
like,
but you still get money every year.
right? But it would also
rest of
take
life.
you. It would take you quite a while to make.
It takes
the same
you
amount.
longer to make that same amount, but in my
I
head,
agree. I would.
it's just
I
a
would rather.
no-brainer.
Yeah, I would rather take.
Because the thing is, like, that from them is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. You could take the money and invest it. It's not guaranteed.
right.
And you also don't know, like, if you take the
Right.
25,000 and you
And if
invest
you-
that
yeah,
every year.
If you do a dumb thing
you're
one
gonna be
year,
fine.
you're gonna get the 25 the next year.
Not to
Yeah.
mention $25,000 for the rest of your life a year. Just take whatever job you have and add $25,000 to it, and that's your salary.
Or just put all
Like,
25,000 in a 401k.
That's what
just
I'm saying. Like,
retire
it's-
on that.
There's
Like,
a
I mean,
lot
you
of
go
other
work at-
options.
you
You
go
could
work at-
retire. You could retire real quick. You just
Yeah.
keep dumping $25,000 into something.
But yeah, so that regardless, that's what I'm saying is like once you have money, then or any type of money, you get your paycheck, and then even if it's because there's also this book I read a while ago called Profit First, and it's about business finance. But I think it also applies a lot to personal finance because basically what it is with business finance is it's saying how a lot of businesses aren't profitable because they just reinvest into the business or their expenses are so high, and like years down the road, the goal is profitability. This book was saying profit first. So basically when you get stuff in, you know what's going to be taken out, and you have these different accounts for how much you're going to owe in taxes because if you're self-employed, taxes aren't taken out, how much you got to do payroll, blah, blah, blah. And then create a bank account called profit and just start with 1% or 0.5% or something where you're like, I know my business, if $100 comes out and I take $1 out and put that into profit, we can survive on the 99 as a business. And then you get to the end of the year and you realize, hey, this year I can probably do 3%. You can take $3 out. Well, next thing you know, you have a business that has 3% profitability, which doesn't sound like a lot.
Well, a lot of times,
but it can be.
a lot of times businesses don't want to show a big profit though, like purposely.
For tax
Right.
reasons, there's reasons to hide your profit.
Right.
Yeah, but some businesses, the way they operate, they can't show profit, and that's what like most small businesses fail within 5 years.
Well, that's where like surplus comes in. If you need to not show profit.
Yeah, so like
have to spend
Amazon,
money.
wasn't profitable until like a few years ago, but it's because they're investing so much in like research and development and all this
Infrastructure
stuff.
and
Like
stuff like that, yeah.
they were making a ton of money. They're just putting it back in the business. So there's ways to hide your profit in ways that you still have that money, but you aren't taxed on it. That's a whole different thing. But when like personal finance, if it's like you know, you just can't get ahead. It's like, okay, every paycheck that comes in, could I live on $5 less?
Right.
If it's like, okay, $5 less, yeah. Well, now you're saving $10 a month. Is that much? No. But at the end of the year, you have $120 you didn't have before. And you get to the end of the year, you're like, hey, I was able to do that. Maybe you get a little raise, and now you're saving $10 a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And then end of the next year, now you're saving $20 a month. So then there's another $240 on top of it. It's like that type of stuff to where you got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but it's a similar thing of like investing for retirement. A lot of people our age just don't do it. But like if you don't start, like if you start now, you can put away like a few $100 a month into retirement and be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Versus you start when you're 35, 40, now you got to put like thousands away. Right. To be good. Right. But it's like if you had just started when you were younger, yeah, it's going to be tough. But you put like $300 a month away for retirement. Yeah. If you can afford to do so, then you get to 65 and you're like, all right, I've done it. Now, I also think that the American way of retirement is a little bit weird because you get to 65 and it's like, oh, now I get to enjoy everything because now I'm 65 and I'm old.
I think that's silly.
So I'm not saying early retirement, but I do think that the way you invest that quote unquote retirement, if you're smart enough, you can have enough passive income that kind of what you were saying, when you get to like 40, 50, ideally you can just do what you're passionate about and have passive income coming in that if you go a month and whatever you're passionate about doesn't bring in that much money, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. To where you can go or you can go and take your family on a really nice vacation every year or spend it on like different stuff like that. There's ways around it, but I mean,
I also just don't like the idea of in America we think that once you get old you're just done. Like now, just rest the rest of your life. That's not how.
Well, we
like,
think that
you
but
still
then,
have so much to offer the world and the younger people.
Well,
like you need to
as 60,
suit yourself, bro. When I get to 65, I'm going to the golf course.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll see you on hole 17, bro.
I hate that.
I'll definitely do that.
I don't. Not like I don't mean like just going and playing golf. I mean like not doing anything with your life but what you want to do for fun. Like,
why would you hate that?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
That's what you work for.
Yeah, you work your whole life.
That's what you work for is to not have to
have responsibilities.
I think that if you get to 65,
if you want to keep working when you're 70, go for it.
No, I'm not saying working. You're not hearing me. I'm not saying you're going to work to get a paycheck. I'm saying that like you're done serving other people. Like, you know what I mean? That's why, like, if you starting at 65, you just take the money that you've saved for retirement and you never do anything the rest of your life but what you want to do for fun. Like, I think that you're wasting that the rest of your life. There's still so much you have to offer to other people.
So,
well, I mean, yeah, I still have a family. I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I have for us 7 to 3. That I'm now not at a job. I can get 2 rounds of golf in.
That's exactly what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But
I'm playing golf the whole time. I still have 3 to 9 every night to do whatever I need to with my family and hang out with my grandkids.
There's not a disagreement here.
There's not a disagreement. That's what I'm just saying.
Is
you think that I was saying that like it's not okay to do things that you like. I'm saying to exclusively no.
Well, I did say I'm going to golf
me.
every day, and you said I hate that.
Yeah, you said.
Well, yeah, but
you came out the gates a little bit aggressive.
That's what I'm saying. Is we were saying like you can golf every day, and you can have like golfing takes 4 hours.
You're right.
I can actually have more time.
You're right.
Golf, if all I do is
said golf every day, and I was thinking that meant golf only every day, like exclusively play golf all day.
I'll play some pickleball.
Pickleball is a good time,
but
I will say.
What I do think is funny is we say 65, you're like done, can't do anything in the workforce. Yet pretty much every president we ever elect is 65 plus
because they have to be at least 45.
But I'm saying like, how is 65? Like you can't be in the workforce. You're kind of done. Time to check out. But it's like, let's let elderly run our country.
That's a good point.
When you think of it that way.
Let's not go any further down that road.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying like any president, side,
any president.
they're all old every time.
It is a weird balance.
Youngest president was Ronald Reagan, right?
How old was he?
In his late 40s.
I mean, I think.
See, like that one makes sense.
I say being
because you have to be 45, so you have to be in your late 40s.
Oh, 35.
It's 45.
Is it 45?
Yeah,
35 is vice president.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I like the idea of having you got to see some life, but yeah, you do get to an age where it's like, I don't know, who cares?
I was more just saying that like I don't like the idea of like once you get past 65, you're used to everybody else. It doesn't matter. You're only living for yourself. And I'm not saying that's
Yeah,
what you
I'm
guys
not-
are
I
saying
don't
at
plan on
all.
doing that.
I'm not targeting you guys whenever I say that. I don't believe that you
Sounds
guys are
like
like
somebody
that.
in your life did that.
Yeah, man.
No, it's
You
not.
alright?
No, I just don't like that. That's why. That's like work your whole entire life so that you can just live on your yacht whenever you're at 65. You want to have a yacht? That's fine. But like, why
Well, I
don't you
mean, my
just
grandkids will come on maybe once a month.
Where are we going to be members at? Boonesboro?
I don't know, man.
Boonesboro CC?
Oh, that's the thing is if my grandkids and my family isn't in Lynchburg, like, and I'm 65, where I don't want to live.
Oh,
if I've got no
if everybody
family
spreads
ties?
out?
Yeah.
I don't
Now,
know.
generation.
The idea of your
generational
family not
I
being
was gonna
around
say,
here. does not-
Generational history would say my kids are going to stay in Lynchburg. But if they didn't, I mean, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I left my family. They're north, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's no telling where I'm going when I'm old. I'd probably move to wherever my family is.
No, dude, you're gonna be on Smith Mountain Lake. That's the
I'm
furthest
going
you're going.
The tough part would be
Beach,
like if
bro.
I had like 2 kids and one moved out to like Colorado and the other moved to like Florida. Where do you go?
You don't go to either.
You're definitely not going to
You
Colorado.
go in the
I know
middle?
that.
No, that's. I think going. Well, I think you either choose one.
I mean,
or
you're
you don't go
flying
to
either
either.
place.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing. I think you either choose one or you don't go. You don't go to either. You don't
Well,
even go.
yeah, well, even choosing one's kind of tough.
Yeah, but it's like I could either
Sounds
be
like-
I could either be like with one child or neither, and it's just like you just kind of have to weigh that. It's
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
If it was Florida and Colorado, I'd probably
Yeah.
go Florida because when I'm old and decrepit, I think I'd rather be in the heat
Yeah,
than the
I
ice
mean,
cold.
my parents will basically be in that spot in whenever they decide to retire,
Or maybe it'll
Potentially.
be maybe
Potentially. Who knows?
maybe I would spend my summers in Colorado and my winters in Florida.
You know, because it
you
might
go.
be well, there you go. It might be a situation where what if you may have like a 2-in-1 situation? You have 2 kids in one spot, one in the other, but then like that one kid is your favorite, and he also lives in like I'm saying but he also lives in like a way better location too, and it's like.
I
dang.
think I'd.
I gotta give him some company. Sorry,
I think
you
I'd end
can-
up having like a summer winter location
That'd be great.
vibe going.
I'd like a summer winter location.
There is someone we ran into on a cruise that they retired to cruise ships.
Good for them.
Yeah. Well, you can pretty easily get like
You're
a
telling me
job
they, like,
on a cruise
constantly
ship that's
cruise?
not crazy.
No, they didn't get a job.
They
just live
They
on
just
them.
constantly
That's
on a
awesome.
cruise?
They said that
How?
where
That's
they were
so
from,
fun.
where they were. I forget where they were
How's that
from.
possible?
But they said that it was like the cost of living for them to just stay on cruises was. I forget. It was barely. They told us the different prices. It was barely more than where they were currently living.
Well, if you think about it like this, to where like let's say you do Royal Caribbean,
Yeah.
because I'm sure you'd want to go somewhere do a nice cruise line like that. The amount of points you would earn,
Yeah.
I'm sure if you
Well,
work
also,
out the
all
math.
their food was taken care
As
of.
I'm saying, you may be able to work it out to where you can live off of. I mean, yeah, like $1,000 a week. Is that crazy to say?
don't know, yeah.
Like that.
So they just-
maybe it's like only $1,000 a week, and like that's not an insane living. You know, $4,000 a month to live off of all your food, all your expenses,
And then your family, like every year for vacation, let's just go see grandma and granddad on the cruise.
Now, I will. This is where the problem would exist for me if like that was my plan. Is like you're gonna port and you're gonna spend a ton of money at all the tourism.
Oh no,
places.
because you don't
Not
have to.
necessarily.
A lot of times you can just walk off the port and go to the beach right
but,
there.
But I wouldn't do that. Like,
well,
I'm
by your 5th time
now
to
that's
Jamaica,
true. Like,
what are
we're
you gonna
back.
go buy?
We're back in Libs in Portugal again. Like,
You need to go buy another one of
Sick.
those cowhide
Yeah.
drums or something.
yeah, and
Like I don't have enough room in my bunk.
and the
from
storage,
from
the
where
storage
Ross does stuff.
situation. Like, do you just have a storage unit? Like to keep. Like, what do you even live with? Like, what? How many?
You just need your suitcase.
Can you do laundry on a cruise
Yeah.
ship? Man, what a crazy way to live
Yeah.
life. Good
That's
for
what I'm
them.
saying. And if you get the drinks package, I mean,
They're the
get
main
unlimited
characters,
everything.
man. That's great.
Yeah, and they just loved it because like new people came on the cruise, and every week they had new people to talk to.
That's
That's so
fantastic.
So every week they would just go around and ask people where they were from and just live in life. They were super
Man,
social people.
Yeah,
That's so fun.
yeah, I would.
You'd have to be.
They probably have endless friends because my grandparents were like, they haven't been in a while. Like since the pandemic happened, like they hadn't really gone on another cruise. I don't know if they've been on one since, but they for years did cruises maybe twice a year. Like they were really into it, and they would just have friends from like that they made in France and
That's
things
so
like that. Like
funny.
they have friends from all over the world that they like still keep in touch with, and it's just the craziest thing ever. Like, oh yeah, that's our friend. I think they have a friend like named Fergal, who I think is from
Fergal.
somewhere in Europe.
Are you sure it wasn't Fergie?
No, not Fergie.
I was watching
Fergal.
a show. It's called The Circle on Netflix.
Yeah.
Pretty good time.
Okay.
Liz, it's like 3
I've
seasons.
seen
in.
that.
Liz and I have watched all 3 seasons. It's a good time because essentially the whole idea is it's social media, but as a reality show. So everyone's in a room and it's just them in the room by themselves, and they have a screen and they can talk to, you can like open chats to talk with other people, and they'll have different games. So some people catfish and go into someone else they think will help them win. other people, whatever.
Oh, I could catfish.
And you like go in and you talk to all these other people, and then every week they they rank the people, and the top 2 people become the
And
circle
there's no
influencers.
video chat?
No, you never see them. The top
What
2
is
people,
with that and like shows these days?
I don't
Like
know.
all the blind stuff. They love
the
it.
top 2 people become the circle influencers, and then they vote on who they want to send home. And when you get sent home, you go visit someone in real life. You walk to their room and get to meet them in person, and then you leave the whole group of video chat after. So a big thing people will do is like they go and like, let's say Konner was playing a 22-year-old college girl. And then I show up to Connor's room to talk to Alexis, I think, and it's Connor sitting there.
I would have to be trying to visit the people that like were the most obvious catfish.
And so then like you walk in, and then they always just leave like they obviously can't say, hey, Alexis isn't who you think. And so they'll always sit down, and before anyone can talk the next day, they have a video message from the person who just got sent off. And it's like, they'll be like, hey, really had a fun time here. Wish I could have stayed longer, but just so you know, not everyone's as they seem.
How many?
And
people
then
are
Alexis is like, do I say that they came to see me or not?
How many people are on the show?
So they start off with like the initial group is like 4 or 5, and then they add people throughout.
What percentage of people would you say don't act as themselves? Like how common is it?
Normally there's like 2 to 3 every season, but there's probably like 10 people that rotate through, so 20 to 30%.
Okay. I was curious because like I feel like if
everyone's
I'm not being myself.
Everyone's looking out for a catfish.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people get sent home because people think they're catfishing, and it's like, no, it's really me. Like, what do you, like, this is so annoying. But this most recent season, they had the Spice Girls randomly thrown into the show.
What? That's
catfish.
funny. Toss in a celebrity.
They tossed them in
That's
as a
very funny.
catfish, and basically the whole point the Spice Girls were there is if they could go undetected as a catfish for. I think it was like they were on the show for like 3 or 4 days. If they could go undetected as a catfish for like those 3 or 4 days, then $50,000 got added to the prize pool.
Oh my god!
If people discovered them, that money didn't get added.
How would you get discovered?
Everyone else, first off, didn't know the Spice Girls were in there. Secondly, when day 3 came, they were told you have to try to find the Spice Girls. They weren't told what the repercussions were. Of like, if you find them, you're gonna lose money.
Oh, so people were after them. So that's
people
how they
were
would get
trying to
discovered.
find them.
Okay.
So the final day, they what they did was they had a 90s party before anyone knew the Spice Girls were there. I think it was a 90s party. And they like, for the parties, they bring like clothes that you're supposed to dress up in and dance in your apartment by yourself. I'm sure it's very cringy when you're there by yourself, but like when they added it all together, it's like a good time. And then they all like did a trivia game, and there was like they talked about like Spice Girls, blah blah blah. Then the circle revealed, because they played like some of their songs. Then the circle revealed one of the players you're interacting with is 2 of the Spice Girls, and then it immediately threw them into a Spice Girl trivia game.
Oh my
and you're
gosh.
supposed to answer questions about the Spice Girls.
Oh man.
And so the Spice Girls were like, how the heck do we play this? And so they all do it. And then immediately after that, it goes into a voting. And everyone has to vote who they think the Spice Girls are.
Do they get it?
And the Spice Girls, they didn't get discovered. Well, then it pops up on the screen, the Spice Girls are headed to meet one of you now. So then everyone's freaking out because they're about to actually meet the Spice Girls. And so...
Well, meanwhile,
right
most
there.
people there are like, who are the Spice Girls?
Yeah, like,
probably.
what-
no, most of them knew.
All the
Okay.
Spice
What was
Girls?
funny is, it was just 2. It was Scary Spice and...
I'm
so
guessing-
Mel B,
I'd say I'm-
and I forget the other
Oh,
one.
Mel B was.
It was Mel B and
Mel
one of the
B
other-
drives me crazy.
Mel B was basically the one.
Was
only
it
one people
Victoria?
knew.
Wasn't there? Isn't it one of the?
It was a blonde
Beckhams?
chick.
Wait, am I? Victoria Beckham was a Spice Girl,
No.
right?
No chance.
Is that Bennett like Beckham?
There's no chance.
David Beckham's wife. I could have sworn he married a Spice Girl. I might be talking crazy right now.
I do not know.
I have to be careful.
I
with
just
this
know
search,
that
huh?
I just know that I do not care for Mel B.
Victoria
Okay.
Beckham Spice
Okay, she
Girl.
was.
English singer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I would
Not
say
Trevor.
I would say those.
She was in the Spice Girls.
Her and Mel B are.
It was this one, this
2
blonde one.
known ones. So I was like, I bet you.
It was them 2.
Okay.
I don't know who the blonde chick is.
I don't know. I would say those are the only 2 that I know of existence.
But regardless, so
I didn't think there's
then
one
what was
song.
funny was one of the guys was like a 30-some-year-old guy. So he knew who the Spice Girls were, but he was catfishing as a 20-year-old. So he had to act dumb enough that like he didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
But not too dumb to bring suspicion on
Yeah.
him. And so it was pretty funny. Because then like the question came up and it was about like this Spice Girls movie. Didn't know they had a movie. And it was like, what's the title to it? And so he knew. Because apparently it was massive when it came out.
Okay.
So he knew the title. And the title isn't super obvious, but like the really obvious one was like Spice Girls the movie. But it was actually titled something completely different. So he's like, what do? Like, I know the answer, But like Nathan wouldn't know the answer. Who he was playing? It was pretty funny.
I mean,
That's
I'm just trying to
very
think
funny.
of who I would play, but I promise you, it would be nothing like who I am. I would.
Well,
be
what was
completely
crazy
different
is
person.
so
I would be a jerk.
in the first season, a woman came on and played her husband named Trevor, and she won the show playing her husband. Right.
That's a
Then
good strategy.
2
Yeah,
seasons
it is.
later, they had her husband come on and play one of his wife's friends. So then it's
Wow.
actually Trevor. So like he's like a circle celebrity. So like everyone who goes on the
I
circle
want to be a circle celebrity.
has watched the circle and knows a lot about it. So they know Trevor.
That dirty
And
dog.
so he was playing one of his wife's friends, and he made it to the finals. He was actually one of the final 2. So he almost won it. He didn't win though. He almost won it.
Spoiler.
And but when they like reveal who how they reveal the finals, like who everyone is they have you all go to a dinner together and they bring you in one at a time.
Love that.
And then it'll say like so and so is on their way to meet you. And so then it said so and so's on his way to meet you, and they had him be the last one that walked in. And so he walked in and everyone was like, I think he was playing a girl named like Amari or something. And they were like, no, it was Imana. I don't know. Doesn't matter. They walk in and he says who he was, and they're like looking at him. He goes, but my real name's Trevor. And then everyone just like lost their mind because then they got to meet the person that
That's
like
funny.
the first season
He's a
the person
circle
won as.
celeb.
I mean, his family almost won $250,000 from this show
Wow.
Dang.
because his wife won
What does the winner win?
$100,000.
Oh, okay.
But then this year, the Spice Girls, it got up to 150. Yeah, it's wild. It's a really fun show.
It is very funny the infatuation with like the shows that are all coming up on Netflix where you can't see the other people.
Yeah.
Because like
Love is Blind is another great one.
Love is Blind, and I think there was one other one, Married at First or Love at First Sight was the other one, and then this one now.
The Circle, every season starts and you go, oh, this is so annoying. And then 5 episodes in, you're just enthralled.
5 episodes in.
I don't know, a few episodes.
So you gotta get 5 in
The
there.
first season, the cast they had was incredible. And so it drew you in right away. The second season, the initial cast, you're comparing them to the first cast. And so you're like,
suck.
these people suck. This is going to be awful. But then you start to get to know them. And next thing you know, you're enthralled. And then the third season, same exact thing. I'm like, this show's just gone to crap. Like they're throwing way too many things in. And then I loved it.
You loved it.
So you just got to push
Circle.
through.
It does sound like fun. It does sound
It's a
like
good
fun.
time. It's on
Television
Netflix.
show.
The Circle.
I'm watching the Obi-Wan Disney series right now.
I've given up on Star Wars.
That's fair.
Mainly because I watched like when Disney took over Star Wars and released that first one.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that one
The
was.
Force Awakens.
Rogue-
I watched that one.
Force Awakens was okay.
I haven't watched anything past that,
It
and
got
at this
worse.
point, I'm too far away because
got
then they
worse.
just started. There's so many series and stuff.
I
now.
watched. I think I watched The
Well-
Force Awakens, and then I didn't watch any of the other.
because like then
There's
there's
not
like
so
the
many.
Han Solo movie, and then
That's
there's like
kinda
the
stunk.
other movie that's about one person.
Rogue One's phenomenal.
Rogue One, and
That
then
one's
there's
good.
the other like actual episode in between those two, and then there's the Mandalorian, and then there's
Well,
whatever
you're making
this.
it sound a lot more complicated than it is because there's the original. So
Do those things all exist?
you've got the original 6 Star Wars movies, right?
Yes.
I'm going to explain what you would actually need to watch as far as timeline is concerned. So you got the original 6, and then they made 3 new ones that go on the end of it, right? Okay. So
and then in between each
so
of
you-
those 3 is a character development one.
right, but like the Han Solo movie, pointless. You don't need to watch that. The Rogue One movie is a timeline filler. It fills in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
But
if
so-
once you
but as
miss
far-
them,
but-
I'm never
But
watching.
I'm
them again.
saying, as far as ones that actually squeeze in the timeline, it's really just the Rogue One, and because the Mandalorian is also very, very much not important. So, well,
You also don't really need to know much
there
about
is
Star
im-
Wars to watch
yeah,
Mandalorian.
There is important things in Mandalorian, but it's not. For me, it's not as like much of a timeline gap filler as Rogue One and the Obi-Wan series could be, I guess. So, like,
I
really,
think The Mandalorian was just
I-
a good show.
yeah, I
Like,
think there's really
Star
only
Wars
2
aside.
kind of extra ones, and they're not necessary at all. Now, that being said, like the new Star Wars movies stunk, and
I think Disney ruined Star Wars.
yeah, they're not doing a good job. The
what I'm
Mandalorian show
When they bought it,
was done well, I guess.
I was like, this is going to be incredible because now you're getting. Well, I was thinking like you're getting Star Wars with a Disney budget now.
But the problem is, the whole problem was not really Disney. It was that they removed George Lucas. So
Yes.
you take the guy who made the
Well, when
entire
they
thing
first-
away from it. It's like, well, there it goes.
When it first came in, when it first got announced, I don't think it was still on the table.
Probably, yes. So yeah, no,
and even when the first one came out, I went to the release of it excited.
When Disney
and then I walked away and I was like, that sucked.
When
I'm
Disney
done.
bought Star Wars, it was such a long time ago. Like it was forever ago, and it took a while for that first movie came out. So far the Obi-Wan series has been. It's very cool to see Ewan McGregor reprise that role. That's cool.
I love Ewan
but so
McGregor.
far, I'm 3 episodes in, and that's all that's been released so far, I believe. And it's a very aggressive nostalgia grab. So far is what I'm getting from it. It's not very. It's pretty poorly directed and just a super.
There's one of the. I feel like
service
Star
show.
Wars at this point is something. It's another one of those. A lot of series end up doing this where they just know they can make money.
Oh yeah,
because they
it'll always
know
make money.
people are going to watch it because there's enough diehard Star Wars fans
Right.
that if they lose people like me, it doesn't really affect their bottom line that much.
Yeah,
Because I just won't watch anymore because now I didn't like it. I loved Star Wars, the first 6. Watched that multiple times. When the first one came out, I was excited. I understood everything that was going on. It kind of flopped for me. I didn't really like it. And then after that, I just lost interest.
What is interesting is
and then the more they came out with, the less interested I get.
What is interesting is now it's not completely the same, but the way that we feel about these new movies is similar to how the generation above us felt about the prequels. Not quite as aggressive, but they hated them pretty bad. And our generation loves the prequels.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
it will be interesting to see if the next generation below us latches onto these new ones. I think it's a different level. It is a lot more films, and I think it's also a different level of bad. Like I think they were, especially the first one was I think it was a fine movie. Especially the last one, it really turned into a mess. They had different directors going on. Like they didn't know what they were doing. There's some things that need to be left behind in the past.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like it's hard.
Because things are just going to change no matter what.
When you get to like Lord of the Rings trilogy was incredible. And then I think they were smart because they didn't go past the books. So then they went into The Hobbit, and that was separate, and The Hobbit was still good.
Well, right, it's different with Lord because like Star Wars, there is no books.
Yeah. But
Well, there are books.
Well, yeah, but they're not the original. It's not where it came
It's
from.
not their original.
But
yeah.
if they were to try to make a Lord of the Rings 4 and just do it on their own, it would suck. And I would hate it. But it's something where if that came out, would a lot of people watch it and would they make a lot of money?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's just that.
Oh yeah, the brand.
There's a time
the
to
Star
stop,
Wars
but
brand
it's
is
like-
invincible. The Lord of the Rings brand would be invincible. The Harry Potter brand is invincible, and the new Harry Potter movies are fine.
yeah, they're pretty good.
But-
But they did a good job also because it's different. Than
Yeah,
the Harry Potter movies.
they spun them very much, which I think helps. I haven't seen the newest one yet, but I enjoyed the first
haven't
two.
either, but I
I had a
want
good time. But it's on HBO, by the way. It's kind of just one of those things where there's just those invincible brands that are just like, especially when you got to experience them in their prime, it's gonna get worse for you. There's not I don't know what's gonna happen with Star Wars. It'll be very interesting to see because the spin-off shows they're rocking with right now, and those are getting much better critical reception than because they had Jon Favreau do The Mandalorian, and he did like the Iron Man movies. Like he's pretty legit. We'll see with the Obi-Wan series. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but as far as like the main movies, there was talk. I mean, I think there was rumors going around that George Lucas gave them an offer, and he said, he basically told them, "I will do 3 more movies for you if you agree to wipe the other 3 from existence." Basically,
Wow.
Wipe them from Star Wars canon, just like they didn't exist. And I was like, that's crazy. But it really hurts me, honestly, is some of the main actors in those new Star Wars movies are pretty good. I really like John Boyega, and Daisy Ridley is pretty solid, and Oscar Isaac is good. It's the writing that stunk. It's not the acting. It's certainly not the production. It's the Star Wars budget. It's cool. The writing just kind of stunk. It just didn't really have a good vision. So we'll see.
I'm with you, Hunter. I liked the same thing. I liked the original movies and then gave up on it.
I will say this, as far as the new stuff that's
Except
come
I did
out,
watch The Mandalorian just because of the groundbreaking technological advances in CGI and filming.
Yeah.
I
If
watched
I
it just
don't
for
get-
that, and
with
it
the
was
new
incredible.
stuff,
If I
I've
don't
only watched
watch-
it once.
if
I
I
watched it
don't
all
hit-
once. I haven't seen it again since.
If I don't hit a show like The Mandalorian before it gets mainstream, I refuse.
I watched it
Because,
a year after it was
Once
mainstream.
enough people tell me you have to watch it, I just will never watch it. because like
Is
then
that a
everyone
healthy personality trait?
Probably not, but everyone
Yeah.
like forces it down my throat, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it makes me.
I mean, yeah, everybody kind of feels
It
that.
makes me
reason
hate
why-
it. Like I intentionally call it Baby Yoda, and I refuse to call it whatever the frick its real
Oh
name
yeah,
is.
the child. Like no, it's baby. Yoda.
No, it has a real name.
Grogu.
Like the
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, well, for a while there, you
It
had
was
to
just
call it the child.
Yeah, but I intentionally call it Baby Yoda.
Baby
Because
Yoda.
I like getting under the Mandalorian diehard skin because
only-
they got under my skin by trying to force me to watch Mandalorian and
only
telling
reason
me I'm
why-
missing out
I only
by
saw
not
season
watching
1
it.
of that show.
The only reason why I watched The Mandalorian, like there's a few movies and shows that I watch, and usually I watch them after they've been out for a while, and it's because I see so many things on YouTube that are like film breakdowns and like CGI breakdowns and like of like how good the effects are in it and how good the movies are, and I'm like, okay, well if it's that good, like I want to watch it for that. I will not look at it like critic acclaimed or like people just tell me about it. Like that,
Yeah.
that might make me go see it. But The Mandalorian was because I saw all the behind the scenes of how they filmed it, and I was like, oh man, I gotta see.
They
what
broke
the,
records
what
for
the
how
thing
much they
was.
spent per episode on that show. I know that they spent millions and millions per episode. It was,
But it's
insane.
because they were like developing the new technology. It's probably gonna be cheaper from now on because they already developed it.
The more basically
Yeah, I don't know.
Because there's less set
there's like
dressing.
a chart for me of the more people. It's like the likelihood of me watching something, and it like that's on one side, and it like starts high, and then it's the more people that tell me about it. It's on the bottom, and
you
it's
kinda
just
need to be in it.
a drastic downslope. Like there's not ever like a point where like the more people tell me, it's probably like this. Like it's probably like that type of curve
Okay.
where there's a point of no return where you can people can keep telling me like The Mandalorian, I will never watch it out of spite. Because too many people told me I had to watch it.
That's so funny. I
And that
don't-
my life would
in
be
my
so
life-
much better if I watched it. I'm like, no.
my life didn't.
My
get
life's going to
that
be... Like
much
Harry
blown up
Potter is
about
very
that.
similar.
Mandalorian.
Enough
I
people-
loved that show, but I would never tell anybody, "Oh, you've got to watch
Yeah,
The Mandalorian," because
that's
it's
what I'm
only
saying.
for specific people. Because it's really slow.
Well, it's because
on purpose.
I liked Star Wars. So
Okay.
people that knew I liked
That
the
makes
first 6 Star Wars were like...
So they're like trying to help you.
They're
by
trying to
giving
get me
you stuff
back
that
into
you
Star
enjoy.
Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Like, you're trying to get me back into Star Wars. And I know I'm not going to enjoy the other movies because I already watched one.
Okay.
And it's like Harry Potter. Enough people have told me that I'm missing out by not
Hunter,
watching
the
Harry Potter.
last thing I
that
ever
will
want is
never-
the last thing I want is for you to watch Harry Potter.
It's too late. It's not even y'all.
It's too late. He already
It started
watched
well
it.
before y'all of people telling me I need to watch it.
No, I don't want you to.
I'm not going to.
Good.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't need.
I'm
you
at this point in this
criticizing my
chart.
life.
I'm at this point in this chart. No one can tell me anything past
Good.
this now. I'm here.
I'm glad.
I'm never watching Harry Potter.
What are some examples of those things? I
Yeah,
want to see,
is
because
there
none
any
of the
other?
things that you've said I've been passionate about so far. But there's bound to be
Harry
something.
Potter is a big one.
I like Harry Potter, but I'm not sure
The
you
new
would.
any of the new Star Wars stuff, that's big.
Don't care that much. Mandalorian is a good show if you like filmmaking.
The Lord of the Rings would have been had I not seen it.
Don't
like
care.
Lord of the Rings is one where I watched it enough that once people told me how good it was, I can quickly be like, yeah, I've seen it.
I'm almost
And
to the
it's
point
done.
with Lord of the Rings where I'm ready to watch it because I have
I watched
actually.
it last
I've
year.
seen the 2-hour movie of the making of Lord of the Rings, but I've never actually seen a Lord of the
You would
Rings
enjoy
movie.
it. Yeah. I'm not gonna say it would change your life.
You know what's
But it's a
funny?
great- it's a
is
great
I think,
series.
I still think
The
I haven't
Hobbit's
seen
good
the
too.
last like half hour of the last one. I don't think I got past. I don't think I like. I think
What
I
are
was
some
busy.
other?
I was busy. Like, I don't know.
I don't know what the other. I mean,
get
they
the
are
gist.
long movies. It
They
takes
are.
a lot
Yeah,
of time.
no,
You have to
they're very
sit
long.
down and like set your afternoon.
They're good
apart.
movies. Don't get me wrong.
Liz has never watched any of them and refuses to.
I didn't quite feel
Liz
the
is very
attachment
similar to
to
me.
them that a lot of people do, but like they're good movies.
The more you push something onto her, the less she does it.
I can be like that, so I'm not gonna. I don't think you're crazy. I'm not typically really like that with like movies or shows, just because I like them so much. But like
See, because that's
with
my
music,
thing.
I'm definitely like that with music.
That's my thing with movies and stuff is I'm not super into movies and stuff. So like
I'm only not. I actually love movies, but I'm not good with the commitment to sit down for 2 hours and watch
yeah.
them.
I love movies.
So I do because I love movies, and almost every time I finish a movie, I'm like, that was a great time. The best, like I had this time, like there's a period of time when I was in college, I was friends with these two guys that were cinematic arts majors and like were really into movies, and like we did like movie nights a lot in people's dorm rooms in college, and like I really love doing it. I love watching movies, but in the evening you have limited time. It's tough to be like, yeah, let's sit down and watch a 2.5 hour movie.
I like movies with a group. I'm not big on movies by
Same.
myself. Like
I'll never watch a
The last
movie by
time I
myself.
watched a movie by myself was whenever I watched Joker. It's because
Yeah.
my wife was out of town. I knew she wouldn't want to watch it.
It
and,
is-
and I haven't watched a movie by myself other than that. Probably really like not very much at all. But I like if me and my wife are sitting down like after dinner or something. I'm not gonna suggest that we watch a movie. I would much
Yeah.
prefer us watch episodes of a show
It's
because I
less
like
commitment.
yeah, that's very
You have
true.
a choice to take a break.
Yes, but I love movies, but I want to go see them in the movie theater,
No.
or I want to have like a movie night.
The new
I don't want to
Stranger
just like
Things,
casually watch a
all
movie.
those episodes are like at least an hour 20.
Walking Dead. That's another one.
Oh, okay.
I was
Walking
really
Dead was
enjoying
really good.
Walking
Never
Dead.
watched Walking Dead.
And then I missed a season.
And then it blew up.
Everyone told me about how
What
much
about
I
Breaking
missed.
Bad?
Another one. I refused to watch it.
That's one of the
Yeah.
people that I
People just
I
rub
feel-
it down,
I'm kinda
ram
like
it
that
down
with-
your throat of like, your life is worse because you haven't seen this. And I'm like, my life's
I
great
think you
without watching
You must
it.
have a lot of people that are extreme with that stuff because nobody talks to me like that.
It pisses me
I'm
off.
not. I'm
Nobody-
kind of like I can kind of be like that with Friends. Like I just don't care to watch Friends.
Like,
just
I will
because
tell people that a show is really good, but I'm never gonna like get extreme with it.
People get extreme with it, and I.
But
cannot
Hunter,
stand that.
I bet some people are also like that with The Office though, where like
Oh, I'm
people
sure.
won't watch The Office because it got too
Absolutely.
mainstream.
If I hadn't,
Yeah, you're looking at one.
if
over
I
there.
hadn't watched The Office when it came out, I would be that person.
Yeah, that
I
makes
would not
sense.
watch The
That's
Office.
That's why I don't watch Friends because I didn't watch Friends
let me help.
before
Well,
it
let me
became
help you
mainstream.
out. I got like a year or two ago, maybe even more. I got like 3 seasons into Friends. You're not missing.
It's like
anything.
Parks and Rec.
Take
it's like,
that.
Or,
Take that. Yeah.
Stranger Things is
no,
kind
it's
of
like
like
New
that's
Girl.
how
It's like
that's
New
kind of
Girl.
how
It's
Gabby
forced
is.
comedy.
Yeah,
That's Friends is.
You're right.
Just like New Girl.
That's kind of how that's I think that New Girl is funny.
Professional ignoring right there, Connor, because that.
No, I've watched Friends. It was our fall asleep show. For a
Friends
while.
is very much like it. It's not an awful
It's a
show.
it's a good sitcom.
Yeah, it's very much just like a pretty
It's
cup
gonna
of
get-
coffee show.
It's gonna get this laugh out of me a lot.
Yeah,
And that's
there's one character that I think I found funny, and that was Chandler.
Chandler's
There's
pretty
definitely
funny.
shows like that. I mean, I would think that where the characters are so exaggerated because they're supposed to be representing a group of people. I think that that's kind of how Friends is, where like everybody can relate to one of those characters, and they're extremely
Right.
exaggerated to be a generic character. And I do think that Friends is like that. I will say New Girl is like that. Each character represents a group of people, and they're very exaggerated characters. I just think it's really funny. And then I think that How I Met Your Mother is like that. Each character is very exaggerated. Like I think, but I would group all those shows into the same genre though.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
That's all there's really say.
And we'll end this podcast on The Office is good.
Yeah. It won't change your life if you watch it though, but you should watch it.
Well, here the only reason why it might change your life.
You're about to make a lot of people not watch it, so be careful.
No.
Might change your life because you might not get anything done when you get to season 2 and you got to
Exactly.
get through the whole thing.
It might change your life because you might like it a lot. And you might rewatch it for the rest of
I
your life.
watched the entirety of season 2 in one day.
That's how it was with Psych.
I liked Psych a lot.
And
Psych
this is
season
the
2 I
second
watched in
time I
one
watched it.
sitting, and it was 12 or 13 episodes, all an hour each, and I just didn't move.
I will say a show that changed my
That's
life.
impressive.
A show that changed my life because I never gave it the time of day because I didn't give a crap about it until one of my roommates 2 years ago forced me to sit down and watch it. Was Community, and it changed my life because it's one of the funniest shows I have ever
Community's
seen.
a good time.
It is so funny. I've rewatched it 3 times.
But
since
see,
then.
like what you just said, they force you down to watch it. Mm-hmm. If that happens to me, I will fist fight before I watch.
Well,
that
I mean,
show.
it wasn't like I don't want to watch this show, and they made me. It was like, you guys want to watch some TV? Sure. Okay, I've got to show you this show. I really think you guys are gonna think it's funny. And I was laying in bed already. He put it on, and it was very funny. That's how it worked. If somebody, Hunter, you do very much have a what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of personality where you want to push things. If you don't like something, you're not going to be convinced that you like it.
No, I refuse.
Like that's like
Like hummus.
well, for example, that's how like anytime I've tried to tell you guys a joke from New Girl, I should never preface it with this is a joke from New Girl.
No, one time you didn't, and you said it, and Trevor and I both just sat there like, what the
No,
heck was
that's
that?
not true. I
Yeah.
know what time you're talking about, and I did say this is from New Girl, but it's just a really funny joke.
You can try. I mean, we give you full permission to try and make a joke from that show and not tell us where it's
No,
from.
it's not. It's not like
gonna work.
that's not really a show where you like take jokes from it. It's just like the
Because,
characters
like,
are funny.
they're kind of forced.
because they're kind of forced.
No, it's just because like it's the way the character says it that's funny.
Right.
Because like it's a
Yeah.
it's
Like
a little
they're
forced though. Like
forcing
if you
it.
were to say it in real life, it'd be a little forced.
It's not clever, you know.
It's just kinda like-
lazy comedy.
It's kind of like forced.
I
into
forgot
there.
you guys only like really realistic shows. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah, like the Mandalorian.
Yeah, bro.
What's our random sound, Connor?
Dude, it's just gonna be me being so angry at you guys.
Let's all do a chord, and like we'll judge who does the chord in the best.
You
And
can't sing a chord.
just
no,
tell me-
like a
so- yeah,
guitar.
you
You
can.
make a guitar
No, you
noise.
can't.
It's
You can
a
sing a
guitar.
note, but you can't
No,
sing
you
a
can.
chord.
You can.
No, you
Watch.
can't.
Watch.
G.
No.
See,
Was that- how
that's a
good was
note.
that?
That's a
Shh.
note.
How good was that? How good was it?
I think it was a little low.
Okay. That was insane.
That was actually really good.
Was that a G?
It was.
I don't know. I don't perfect pitch.
It was.
Oh,
you go. Now you
should
go.
I bring up my?
Connor.
Okay, well,
let
I'm
me
gonna
find a
do the-
guitar. Should I bring a guitar tuner
No,
up?
don't.
I'm
Connor,
gonna do
you
the
go.
closest way to you doing a chord, which is
You
to
do
a
it. No, you can do it.
Which is to do
It's
a major
possible.
triad.
Do it.
Dum dum dum.
That wasn't even
that
close.
was awful.
That was
that
not
was
even
that was a
close.
chord.
Because in order for it to be
That
it
was
wasn't a chord because I
very
didn't do them all
bad.
at the same time.
That was very
It's
bad.
technically an arpeggio. That's very good, Hunter. It sounds like
It's
a
freaking
strum.
chord.
It's not a chord because you're not playing more than one note at a time. Bye.